Okay, part two. Let's take a moment to think about your research outcome and the different forms that it could take. The research outcome is the answer to your research question that is substantiated by evidence and examples from your research. You may present this in any format you choose, and the purpose of this PowerPoint is to highlight some examples of less conventional formats. So, although the report format might be the most common, it isn't necessarily going to be the best option for you, and there might be something more fun or more inventive for you to use. It will also provide guidance on possible methods to substantiate and evidence your research. Substantiation is backing up your findings. There are two ways to approach this. You need to provide evidence of where your ideas came from, or you need to explain how you carried out your research and give reasons for your chosen methodology. Attached to the email that has been sent with this recording is this document. It is an example of an outcome where someone from the SACE board has gone through and highlighted all of the moments where the research has been substantiated. So if you want to know what we mean by substantiation and what that looks like, then have a look at the attachment in the email. Have a look at all the ways in which this student has substantiated their research. Hopefully the outcomes featured here will inspire you to think of novel and unique ways to produce a research outcome. The slides which follow are selected examples of research outcomes. There's three different categories. The first one is key findings and substantiation, which together form a product. The second is key findings and substantiation with parts of or reference to a separate product. And the third is key findings, which are annotations on a product with a substantiation from evidence and examples of the research. So the first one, key findings and substantiation, which together form a product. So here we have someone who has done a documented science experiment detailing methodology. Their question was, how do environmental factors affect the growth of vegetation in an aeroponics system? This person's done a web page with in-text referencing. So the web page is the product. This person has created a recipe book with explanation of the methodology throughout. This person's created a pamphlet and a referenced oral history, so a voice recording, explaining where the ideas originated from. So for example, the synthesis here is that they have put together all of the key ideas, all of the key findings, knowledge and skills to create this pamphlet. The pamphlet would be demonstrating the mental and physical health benefits of exercise during Year 12 study. The oral history would then explain where the ideas originated from. The oral history would provide the substantiation. A poster with footnotes and a bibliography. A guidebook with explanation of the research steps throughout. So the guidebook would explain what is involved in planning, organising and conducting a school-based charity event. So what they've done is they've created a step-by-step guide for student leaders. Throughout this, they would have explained the research steps they took to find each of those step-by-step things, and they would have substantiated those steps with evidence. Okay, here are key findings and substantiation with parts of or reference to a separate product. So this is a mailbox with annotated photos of it being constructed. A children's book with a written record of background research. A motorized drift bike with a guide detailing the steps in its construction. Urban artwork with annotated sketches of the work in progress and reviewed photographs of similar artworks. A Victorian-style dress with a scrapbook referencing ideas and explaining methodology. A skirt made from bras and a poster with a written explanation of methodology illustrated through photos, sketches, material swatches and sewing techniques. Their question was in relation to raising awareness for Breast Cancer Foundation. Okay, and the last one, key findings annotated on a product with substantiation from evidence and examples of the research. So this is a video of the experiment with notes and an annotated logbook. So their question was, how can spider silk assist in the repairing of damaged human tissue? This one's a recording of the song being performed with notes and a guidebook explaining the methodology. A video of the construction of a computer circuit board with notes and a referenced written report. A recorded performance of the play and a script with in-text referencing and a reference list. So the student produced a script. And this one, how does one go about producing electronic dance music? A recording of the music with notes and research evidence on the computer screen. So hopefully these slides have given you some insight into how creative you can be with the format of your outcome. You can discuss your ideas with me and negotiate a suitable format. Good luck. The SACE board is wishing you good luck. So have a think about what's appropriate for your research, how you think you're going to produce your outcome, and let me know so that we can discuss what your word limits / time limits will be on the various components. Okay, let's look at planning your outcome. Here's an example question. Can solar power provide all the power Australia needs? So this is something to do after you've chosen your format. You need to plan. First of all is an introduction. That's what will this report be about, and information from which this report has been compiled. The outcome body. Define terms of question. So define solar power and how it works. So you might define asylum seekers, you might define Australian public, you might define pop music, you might define thoroughbred. So you need to define it, and in this case they've explained how solar power works. Then they have 3 arguments. Argument 1, the technology. Let's have a reminder of what their question is. Can solar power provide all the power Australia needs? So, argument 1, the technology. They're going to talk about the current technology, the future of solar power, life of a solar panel. So how long will it last for, its efficiency, its ability to perform. Argument 2, is it physically possible? Do we have the resources? So current usage, land, space available, amount of sunlight that we receive, components, so can we produce them or are we dependent on other countries, storage of excess energy. Argument 3, is it financially viable? So the affordability and the costs and ongoing costs. So they've looked at, what do I need to argue in order to answer this question? So they've said, in order to argue whether or not solar power can provide all the power that Australia needs, I need to look at the technology involved. I need to look at, is it physically possible? Do we have the resources? And is it financially viable? Then there's the conclusion, where you write a brief summary of the report and you give a personal analysis and perspective on the inquiry question based on your research findings. So this is where you can give your personal opinion. So what you guys need to do is develop your outcome plan. Oops. So by the 17th of April, you need to have developed your outcome plan. You need to introduce your topic. What will the report be about? And give a summary of the information from which this report has been compiled. You need to define the terms of your question. You need to outline the 3 arguments that you're going to make. And then you need to plan your conclusion. What are you going to say about your own opinions here? Okay. The other thing you need to do this week, so after this lesson, what you need to do is go to the SACE board website. So I'll show you how to get here. If you go to sace.edu.au and you search here, research project, and you go to the first one, you go to teachers, you go to support materials, interactive clarifying activity, and I have also we'll also send the link in the email. Then you go to assessment type 2, outcomes, subject, requirements, and strategies. There's a video here for you to watch. After you've watched this video, you need to look at these 2 examples of an outcome, and they will also be attached in the email. Once you've read the 2 examples, you click next and you submit your assessment decision. So you have a go at guessing what you think this is based on, and I will also have included the performance standards in the email so that you can do that based on the performance standards. What grade do you think those 2 outcomes deserve? And then you watch the next video and they will go through what grade they have been given by the SACE board and why. There are also support materials available to students and families. You can look at research outcome exemplars. So there are 5 other examples here of research outcomes, and there are also some folio exemplars if you wanted to take a look at some of those, and they've been graded. If you wanted to have another look at that PowerPoint, it's also here under outcome. And there's some information here about substantiation and word count and time limits. Things to consider when you're writing your outcome. You must think before you write. So before you write any sentence or paragraph, ask yourself these questions. Does what I'm about to write relate directly to the focus question? Can I verify it with supporting evidence? Is it logical? Will it lead to a finding? Will the reader be enriched? And am I convincing the reader my statement relates to the focus question? If you have answered no to any of these things, stop writing. It should not be included in your outcome. Now, the other thing to note is that if you are in the research project Moodle and you go to the topic on outcome, lesson 9, there is a variety of other supporting materials here. So some helpful words to use in your outcome, how to insert images into your text, steps in writing a report and what the report format looks like, writing paragraphs and connecting ideas, and some referencing information from the SACE board. Okay, your outcome planning, there's also an evidence of learning planning document that has been sent to you in this email, and I'd need you to complete that. Okay, thank you very much. Let me know if you have any questions.